All right. So let's go ahead. Oh, I need to scoot this over. Or maybe I need to move this. Okay. So let's start today standing at the front of our mat. I feel like I've been starting all the classes like this, but it just really helps. And just take a second and take a few deep breaths. Maybe take a breath in and sigh it out. Take another breath and sigh it out. And one of the things that I've been learning is really breathing into our diaphragm can be one of the best and easiest ways for us to help loosen up our back and either our upper body. So let's just check in to see where we're at. So as you're standing there, I want you to have your hands at your lower ribs and just take a moment and take a few breaths. Don't have to change it. Just notice where you're at. Most of us probably are breathing a little bit more in our forefingers. We're just assessing where our breath is. Maybe into our belly, or maybe you notice you're breathing more in your upper chest. And I want you to take that breath and see if you can breathe into your ribs, into your hands, so that your ribs expand more outwards and then maybe a little more. It's called a bucket handle, where the ribs kind of flare up, but even into your thumb area. I find that's where we're tightest the most. And just take a few breaths like this, thinking about breathing in and being nice and quiet. You start to hear your breath, maybe we're sucking in. And as you breathe out, maybe do that ha breath out. The focus of breathing into our back ribs, into our thumbs. It's a quick assessment here. Go ahead and shake your hands out. And let's just go ahead and start moving, reaching to the stars to the left. As I reach, I kind of pivot on my back toe. I come back and I go to the other side, doing the same thing, really feeling that nice long stretch along that outer body, that lateral fascial line, reaching up and over, maybe kind of doing a nice little hip drop on that side, getting it into your side body. Really listening to your body, how it feels, going back and forth. Maybe it feels better to reach up and over. Maybe it feels better to reach to the side, maybe more lower. Or maybe it feels good to reach down towards the floor. Listening to your body. Switching it up and down, all around. Allowing your shoulders to move, your neck to move, your side body to move. Oh, yeah. Crack, crack, pop, pop. At least that's my body. All right, we're gonna start getting a little squat. And I was still for like 2 days last time from all our squats. So I'm not gonna do that many. But let's just warm our hips up. So as you come down from your reach, I want you to push your hips back, draw that pubic bone up, draw those lower ribs down, and then reach up, going into a squat in the middle. Play with how low you can go, but don't go too low. We're just waking up those hips, keeping that core engaged as you go down and up. And switching up the reaches from the side, even squatting as you go down. One more. Good. Come into the center. We're going to shake it up, shake it out. And just start walking side to side, waking up those outer hips, really being mindful about Are we tilting our pelvis forward? Think about drawing up on that pubic bone as best you can. And as you're stepping to the side, pushing out from your outer heel, feel those hips turning on, really exaggerating that step out. Maybe start getting your shoulders into it. You can do one at a time. Keep focusing on pushing out on that outer hip. My hips are already getting a little tired, which is good. Keep your shoulders still. And let's just start. If you're reaching forward, really reaching forward, letting those shoulders reach forward. And then pull back like you're pulling back on a band. Try to think about your shoulder blades coming back. Don't let those shoulders dump forward. So still stepping back and forth, pulling on the band. And then let's get our quads into it. Now the key about the quad kick, the butt kick, to keep that pubic bone pulled up. And you should feel that stretch into the quad. You can keep reaching forward and squeezing, or to the side. Oh, I like the forward. Let's keep forward. Or just keep your hands still. Just waking up those hips. And then come into stillness. Sometimes it's hard to come into stillness. Go ahead and shake it out. As we're standing nice and tall, hands on your hips, cross one leg over the other, and really root through the big toe as best you can. Check in with your pubic bone, pull up, really draw that core in. Root through your big toe. Arms reach overhead. Let one arm drop to the ground as you reach up to the sky and over, thinking about keeping your pelvis within this frontal plane, like you're between two panes of glass. So you're really doing a side stretch here. Keep rooting through those big toes. Reach both arms to the sky. Reach, reach, reach. Feel your lengthening. Thumbs are behind you. Notice if your shoulders are hiking up. Rotate those biceps behind you. Drop the other arm down to your side. Reach up, 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 and to the side. Keep that pelvis facing forward. Keep rooting through your big toes. Balls of the big toes. Rooting through the heels. Stretching our obliques. Stretching our QL muscle. My gaze is under my arm into the sky. Bring your arm up to the sky. Bring it back down. Uncross the legs and shake it out. Sometimes I find whatever leg is behind me, maybe I'm hyperextending that knee. So see if you can keep your knees soft during this. We're going to do the same thing, but have the other leg crossed this time. Root through. Really root, root, root through that ball of the big toe. Pull up on that pubic bone. Check in with your breath. Can you breathe into that back thumbs and reach to the sky? Can we still breathe into the back thumbs? Just something to think about throughout this class. Reach to the sky as you lengthen through your spine. Let one arm drop down to your side as you continue to reach and then over. Keeping that pelvis facing forward. What we tend to do is want to kind of turn. So keep that hip drawn back. Slow your breath down and think about breathing into those back ribs, into those imaginary thumbs if we were there. Oh yeah. That breath pattern is really going to release that QL muscle that tends to keep us tight back there. Ooh. Then I get wobbly. Reach both arms to the sky. Find your core again. Find your feet again. Let the other arm drop down as you reach, reach, reach up and over. Breathing into those back ribs. Reach both arms up to the sky. Let them come down, uncross your legs. Maybe you need to do your little butt kicks. Feet are facing forward. Have your hands at your back. Fingertips face down. Hug your elbows together, your shoulders together. Lift up through your sternum. Neck is long. Try not to let the neck drop back. Draw it in. Feel that neck really engage as those ribs pull down also. Root through that ball of the big toe. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. Release your hands, sweep them forward like they're going through molasses. Give yourself a big hug, round in your mid-back, tuck your chin in. Take a deep breath between those shoulder blades. Sweep those hands behind you, interlace your fingers and reach them to the ground. Opening up the chest, lifting up through your sternum, rooting through your feet. Neck is long. Tuck that chin in slightly from the ear. Feel that core holding you up. Release your hands, sweep them forward. Give yourself a big hug. Take 2 breaths between your shoulder blades, head down. Come back up. Standing nice and tall, hands at your hips. Let's see how this next one goes. We're going to go into a balance. I want you to root through one leg, really root through all 4 quarters of your foot. Straightening that knee, not hyperextending, just making sure it's nice and engaged. As much as you're pressing down, start to float the other leg up. Interlace your fingers at the front of your knees. Squeeze those shoulder blades back. Keep rooting down to the ground. Make some circles with that top foot. Feel that glute really squeezing. Maybe you have to actively squeeze that glute. Notice if you want to lean back. Keep those ribs over the pelvis. Circle the other way with your foot. Slowly lower your knee so it's right in front of your hip. Hold on with your opposite hand. Give yourself a big hug. Think about your belly button facing forward as you smear yourself open. Shoulder blades draw back. Think about rotating that bicep, the palm up to the sky, reaching it. And then breathe into those back ribs. Maybe you have to adjust your posture. Maybe we're leaning back a little bit too much, bringing those ribs over your pelvis. Breathing that 360 pattern. Inhale is quiet, exhale is the ha breath. Slowly on. Come forward, release your leg down. Shake it out, really turn those hips on. Oh yeah. I just find this so lethargic, the shoulder circles with the hips, like getting those, letting that hip drop and getting that good QL stretch. All right, let's go the other direction. Find your core through your leg, your foot, your knee is straight. Slowly let the other leg rise up. Interlace fingers. I kind of have to pull my knee a little bit more out to the side to draw it up a little bit more. Shoulders draw back. Really root through that heel. Knee is straight and squeeze that glute. Make some circles with your ankles. You could always hold on to something. Maybe you're next to a wall or a chair. Foot the other direction. Lower the knee ever so slightly so it's as best you can in front of your hip. Keep holding on with your opposite hand. Give yourself a big hug. Think about that belly button facing forward as you reach behind you. Belly button facing forward is going to keep that core nice and turned on. Keep rooting through your heel. Sometimes when our hip flexors like to take over, our glute doesn't want to fire. So think about actively squeezing that glute you're holding onto. Rotate that bicep up, palm is up. Squeeze those shoulder blades together and down. And then think about breathing into those back ribs. Adjusting your posture. I'm finding I have to use the wall a little bit. I'm a little wobbly right now. Can turn a lot further the other direction, just noticing those differences. And then slowly coming back, letting that leg come down. Ooh, shaking it out. I was really working my feet. Oh, yeah. All right, I want to do one more standing position. Stretch out our arms. Have your hands at your hips. Slowly let one leg float up. Bend that front knee, let that leg slide back and place it directly behind that front foot. Drop that back heel, spiral it down. So my back foot is parallel to the back of the mat and my front heel pointing forward is right between my arch of my foot. From here, I want you just to kind of move forward and back, finding that position where you have equal pressure in your front foot and your back foot. I find that's kind of key. Bend that knee, see if you can still find that equal pressure. Maybe you have to adjust how far your feet are away from each other. Arms open up, gazes over that front finger. Pull up on the pubic bone, pull down on your ribs. Find length through the neck as you root down through your heels and you drop as if there's an anchor at your tailbone to the floor. This front kneecap is facing forward. Be mindful if it wants to fall in, think about rotating it open. And really why I wanted to do this is to stretch our arms. So take that back hand, turn that palm up. Think about getting that rotation from the bicep up. Keep reaching those fingertips away from each other. Feel that gentle stretch, or maybe it's an intense stretch. Flip the other arm. This time the front palm is up, bicep rotates up, back palm is down. Really reach, reach, reach. We're gonna do one more, flipping up and down. My arms are already getting tired. Flip it the other direction. So you're with me with my front hand up, my back hand down. I'm gonna bend my front arm and allow that back of the forearm to come to my knee. I'm gonna give myself a big hug with my other arm. I'm gonna rotate my chest to the side as I reach to the sky. At any point, I should be able to lift my bottom arm off my knee. So feel that core really turn on, draw those ribs down, and then take that top arm, reach it overhead. As much as you're reaching, you're rooting through that back heel. Anytime you should lift that bottom arm up, feel that core turned on. I'm not gonna be here long. Slow your breath, see if you can breathe through those back ribs. Take that top arm, reach it up to the sky and reach it behind you, pull yourself up and out. Hands come to your hips. Bend that front knee, spiral that back leg up. Maybe you need to do a little kickstand to get a little bit forward and then stand to the front. Shake out your hips. All right. Other side. You're at the front of the mat, hands are at your hips. Slowly let the other leg float up. Noticing the differences. Bend that front knee, slowly let that back leg come back. Right behind that front foot, spiral that back heel down. So that back foot is parallel to the back of the mat. The front heel is pointing to the arch of the back foot. Bend that knee and then just kind of work your way forward and back. Finding that position, maybe you need to adjust where you can have equal pressure in your front foot and back foot. For that back foot, I'm really pressing down into the ground. I'm gonna feel that inner thigh turned on. Open your arms up, gaze over the front fingers. Check in with your core, pulling up on that pubic bone. Let the shoulders relax. Back hand turns up. Think about turning up from your bicep. Reach your fingertips away from each other. Feel that nice fascial stretch. Slow your breath down. Can you feel yourself breathing into those back ribs? Maybe you need to adjust your position of your trunk to open up more into those back ribs. Inhale is quiet, exhale, ha, breath. Flip your palms. Front is up now, bicep rotates up, back arm is down, bicep rotates down, reach away from each other. Tune into your breath, find that breathing pattern, 360. Turn again, the palms. Arms are getting tired, my legs are getting tired, we're almost there. And down again. Meet me with the front arm is up, back arm is down. Bend that front arm, back of the forearm to the knee. Give yourself a big hug with the top arm. Smear your ribs to the side as you reach to the sky. Reach up and over. As much as you're reaching over, you're rooting through that back heel, feeling maybe a nice stretch in your outer body. At any moment, you should be able to lift that bottom leg. I mean, not your leg, your hand. Feel the core. Breathe into the back ribs. Take your top arm, reach it to the sky, reach it behind you, lift yourself up. Hands to your hips. Spiral your pelvis forward, spiral that back heel up. Maybe you need to do a little shimmy, shimmy, and step all the way to the front and shake it up. Do a little hip sway. All right, I want to do one more. This one might involve a wall or something to hold on to. So feel free to move away from the screen if you need to. We're going to do this little figure 4 chair stretch. So if you're not by a wall, have your hands at your hips. Go nice and slow. Slowly let one leg come up. Cross it so it rests right above your knee. Slowly push your hips back. My weight is in my heel. I'm going as far as I can feel a nice stretch in my hip, drawing my ribs in. I'm really thinking about pressing down and almost like we were when we were stepping side to side, pushing through our outer heel. I'm ever so slightly pushing through my outer heel and I'm really feeling that outer hip turned on. And then I can sink a little bit deeper into that stretch. Again, you can hold on to something here. You can work on that balance. Feel like I'm doing okay on this side. We'll see about the other side, might be a different story. Squeeze that glute, push up through your heels, straighten the knee, let that leg come down. This is our final standing pose. Shake it out. Hands at your hips. Doing it again, other side. Slowly let that leg come up, cross it, letting it rest above your knee. Finding a weight in your heel, push your hips back. Yeah, a little bit more wobbly on this side for me. Just listening to yourself. Again, think about your weight is in your heel, and just like we were when we were stepping out to the side, ever so slightly, can you push out through your outer heel? I know that's kind of a weird cue, but as soon as I think about that, this outer hip really lights up. And then you drop a little bit more. Working on that balance, core, stretching that piriformis. Could be locking up our hips. Ooh. Then we start to cramp a little. Push through that heel, straighten that knee. Come out of it. Good. How is it for standing? Do your little hip shake. All right, moving to the floor. Standing at the front of your mat. If you're anything like me, you might need to be a little wider in your stance. Or you can have your feet together, hip width apart, arms reach up to the sky. Find your core, let your arms swan dive out to the side. Bend your knees as much as you need to hinge at your hips. I have to go even wider here. Grab onto opposite elbows, shoulders draw back, root through your heels. Think about those shoulder blades drawing down your back. You're gonna find some length in that neck. Maybe shake your head, no. Shake your head, yes. Feeling that stretch up your vertebra all the way to your pelvis and relax. Can you breathe into your back ribs here? Feels a little different. Relax your arms to the ground. Step one leg back. Put it down to your knees. Step the other leg back. Need to give myself a little break here. And do just some side to side movements, hugging your shoulder to your hip. We're on our hands and knees right now. Opening up that side body. The more I open up that side body, the less I find that hip flexor, including the quad, including the psoas, take over, and my glutes don't fire. And usually when our glutes aren't firing, our hip flexors are taking over. That's when our back starts to get tight. Come into stillness. Shoulders draw back and round. Shoulders draw back, let the belly drop. Even as the belly drops, I'm still drawing in with my rib cage. It's going to give me a deeper stretch in my abdominals. And then I tuck that tailbone under, draw in with the abdominals. And for me, I kind of let my hips just kind of slide back ever so slightly. I'll get a deeper stretch in that low back. Moving back and forth on your own as it feels good. Now that we've loosened up our back, I want you to tuck one toe under, slide it back, squeeze that knee in towards your chest, and step it through. For me, I kind of have to step my leg wide so I'm on my outside of my arms, but for you, maybe you're on the inside. Rise up on your fingertips and press your hips forward. From here, you can stay here if this feels really, really good. Otherwise, I want you to bend that back knee, feel a deeper stretch in that quad. Been having a little bit of pain in my wrist, so I find myself more comfortable in a fist. See if you can rotate that leg back and forth like a windshield. Getting into different fibers. Maybe you pause with the rotation out. Pause with the rotation in. Whenever you pause, think about breathing into those back ribs. Notice what that breath does, how it feels. Keep rooting through that front foot. That's gonna give you less pressure on your arms. Straighten that back leg. Slowly walk your hands back, but keep that foot forward. Lift up on the ball of your foot, so now you're just on your heel. Right now, I moved my hand from the inside to the outside, but you might have always been on the outside, so I'm framing my leg. I'm actively pressing my heel into the ground like I'm drawing it to my bottom, but it's not moving. I'm feeling a nice stretch in my hamstring. I think about sitting up nice and tall, shoulders drop back. I get a deeper stretch in that hamstring. I've spread out my front toes. And I tune back into that breathing pattern we've been practicing today. Neck is long. Coming out of it, I want you to step your foot down like you're stepping on a gas pedal. Slowly walk your feet, arms forward. For me, I need to get my hand back on the inside, but that might just be me. You're gonna heel till your foot up. Might feel kind of awkward and just bring it back for you. For me, I'm gonna have my knees wide. You can have your knees together. If that feels good, push your hips back and rest in this position. Arms can be in front of you. Nice child's pose. Even in this position, can you breathe into those back ribs? That felt so good. I almost fell asleep. All right, come back up onto your hands and knees. We got to do the other side. Whatever leg was forward is going to be the leg that remains. So tuck that other toe under, slide it back. Hug that knee in towards your chest. Place it between your hands or on the outside of your hands, whatever feels best. Push your hips forward. Doing a nice stretch in that hip flexor. Again, you can just stay here in this hip flexor stretch if that's really where your body wants it. Or bend that back knee and get into that quad a little bit more, that front of the thigh. That knee is bent, you can wiggle the leg out and back or in and out. Pausing where it feels extra juicy of a stretch. Breathing into your back ribs. Think about your neck being nice and long. Your arms are engaged. Pushing through your hands, your fists. You can even have blocks under your hands. The more you press through that front heel, the less pressure is on your arms. Straighten that back leg, slowly walk your hands back. Keep that front foot forward, but lift the ball of your foot. Again, I switched my positioning of my hands, so I'm framing. My leg is between my arms. Think about digging your heel into the ground and sliding it back to your buttocks without it moving, just to get that hamstring turned on. Sitting up nice and tall, shoulders draw back to find that length. And then breathe. Step back on the gas. Slowly walk your hands forward. Maybe readjust your hands if you need to. Shimmy, heel toe that foot out to the side, bring it back. You can have your knees wide or together. Push your hips back, but this time walk your arms to the side. Feel a nice side stretch. Play with your breath, how we've been breathing, but also think about exhaling all the way out, lifting that pelvic floor, noticing how by lifting the pelvic floor, you get just an increase, slightly rounding in that low back, and that might feel really good for you. Walk your arms to the other side, even yourself out, same thing. Once you settle into your position, tune into your breathing. Slowly walk yourself back to center. Come back up on your hands and knees, only to let your hips come to the floor. Bring your legs in front of you. Oh, what do we want to do here? Shake the legs out. I think I'm ready to just lay on my back. So let's go there. Bend the knees in front of you. And slowly, using your core, or as a roly-poly like me right now, come onto your back. Oh, yeah. And rock side to side, just massaging that low back into the floor. Oh, it feels so good. Make those circles with your knees, massaging into that SI joint. And the other direction. Listening to your body. These circles are a little sensitive on me, but I know it feels good. With control, let your feet come down to the ground. Open your arms like a T. Going into my favorite quad stretch. Let the knees come to the side. Whatever leg is on the top, use that inner side of your foot and push the floor away. Squeeze those glutes. Find your core and feel a nice quad stretch there. Even in this position, can you breathe into those back ribs? Don't forget to keep squeezing that glute. I find I always need to just keep reminding myself. The reason we're squeezing our glute is because we're stretching our hip flexor, and our glute extends the hip. So by engaging the opposite muscle, it helps create a reflex to relax the front. This is one of my favorite stretches to do in bed. Noticing slowly the leg, releasing. Our body signaling to our body that it's safe in this position. This is all our nervous system guarding. You don't get extensibility that quick, but you can relax your nervous system. To come out of the position, I want you to draw your belly button to your core, tuck that tailbone under, and slowly bring the spine to the floor. Your knees will follow. And go the other direction, same thing, let the knees come to the side. Take that top leg and press the inner foot into the floor like you're pushing the floor away, squeezing that glute. Keep that core nice and engaged. Keep remembering to squeeze the glute. And then tune into your breathing pattern. Squeeze that glute, pushing the floor away. Noticing the gentle releases of the hip. Come out of position, draw your belly to your spine, pull up on that pubic bone, the spine comes to the floor. Your knees will follow. Maybe you have to press into your feet just to rearrange your body. Maybe you want to let the knees kind of wish-wash back and forth. That might feel good to you. Resetting the pelvis. And then meet me in stillness with the knees knees facing the sky. And tune into the base of your spine, your sacrum, between the pelvis. We're gonna stretch your hamstrings, but I really want you to think about keeping that sacrum rooted. So draw that core in right at the lower belly, almost like there's a weight at that sacrum, sticking it to the floor. Take your hands, reach them to the sky, thumbs point down. Lift your knees up and grab between your thighs. Reach your heels to the sky and squeeze your inner thighs together. Inner thighs engaging as you continue to root through that sacrum. Maybe you need to be a little arched in the back. Reaching through your heels to the sky. Point your one toe, lift the heel. We're gonna go back and forth, just stretching out those calves. You could always have your knees a little bit more bent if you feel like this is a lot. Keep squeezing your inner thighs together. Notice how that starts to relax the belly and relax the back. Back and forth. The more I squeeze my inner thighs, the more my lower back relaxes. Maybe you come into stillness, keep reaching through your heels. Keep your sacrum nice and engaged, that core engaged, and start to open your legs up. Going only as far as you can keep that inner thighs engaged. So we're not just hanging on our ligaments here. You're gonna go to your end range and then come a little bit out of it. Feel those inner thighs turned on. Keep reaching, straightening the knees, reaching through your heels. Inner thighs are shaking a little. Continue to feel that release in the belly and the back. Maybe you go a little bit further, but again, I don't want you just hanging here. You're slightly out of that passive position. Slowly bring the legs back. Woo. Bend the knees, bring the feet to the floor, open your arms, do your windshield wiper back and forth, letting your body show you how it wants to move. Stretch our hip, and then we'll be complete. So heel to your feet a little bit closer. They're really wide. Let one leg cross over the other. Maybe you feel a stretch right away. Maybe you want to go a little deeper. You go deeper, take your hands, grab between your legs, behind your thighs. Toes reach to the sky, shoulders draw back. And then find yourself in a gentle rock here. Noticing where it feels really good to stretch. And maybe pausing at that position. And then breathe into your back ribs. Keep your neck relaxed as you breathe. That quiet inhale, the ha exhale. Maybe you want to play with where your sacrum is. Do you feel like you're really rounded? That tailbone's coming off the floor. Can you root through the sacrum? Can you find a different area to stretch when you're more arched in that back? If that's where your body likes to go. Few more breaths here. Keep the neck relaxed with your breath. Release that foot to the floor. Uncross your legs. You want to do a little windshield here before we switch to the side. Feel free to do so. Go ahead, cross the other leg over. Take your hands, interlace them behind your thigh. Find your rock. Pausing where it feels real good and tuning into your breath. If you find that it's a little too much for you to interlace, you could always use a strap here behind your thigh. Easier for me on one side than the other. And then tune into the breath. Neck is relaxed. Play with where your sacrum is. See if you can find that rootedness. Maybe you need to arch a little bit. Notice if that stretch changes. Finding a different spot that wants to be touched and talked to. Release the legs to the floor, uncross. Do your little wiggle woggle. Windshield wipers. And when you're ready, straighten your legs. Palms are up to the sky. Maybe you want to lift that hip up, tuck the tailbone under. I like to tuck my shoulders under. And we're going to do one more body scan with engagement here. So from here, I want you to lift your toes to the sky. Kneecaps are to the sky. Really reach, reach, reach. Feel that engagement of the front of the leg. And relax the legs fully. Reach the toes to the sky. Kneecaps to the sky. Really press the back of your knees into the floor. Feel your quads turn on, your hamstrings turn on, and then fully relax everything. Reach your toes to the sky. Press the back of your knees to the floor. Squeeze those glutes as tight as you can and relax everything. Toes to the sky, kneecaps to the sky. Press the back of the knees to the floor. Squeeze those glutes. String out your pubic bone, pulling up towards your belly button. Feel that core really engaging, drawing your belly in, your ribs down. And then relax everything. Ooh, halfway up the body. Squeezing your core, squeezing anything too much is causing cramping, then don't go too crazy on it. Toes to the sky, kneecaps to the sky, press the knees to the floor, squeeze those glutes, tuck that tailbone, ribs draw down. This time, press your shoulder blades into the floor as you rotate your biceps away from your body. Feel the back muscles turning on, and then relax everything. Notice what doesn't want to relax. See if you bring your awareness there and soften it more. Toes to the sky, kneecaps to the sky. Press the back of your knees to the floor. Squeeze your glutes, tuck the tailbone, ribs draw down. Press your shoulder blades to the floor. Rotate your biceps. Press your fingernails. Our hands are wide, fingernails into the floor. And relax. Almost there. Final one. Toes to the sky, kneecaps to the sky, press the knees to the floor, squeeze those glutes, tuck the tailbone, press the shoulder blades into the ground, rotate your biceps, fingertips into the floor, draw your chin in towards your neck as you press the back of your head into the floor and scrunch your face up, and then fully relax everything. Breathing in and sighing everything out. Breathing in and sighing it out once again. Every breath in, feeling that love from your creator coming in and filling you with life. And every exhale, continue to feel yourself melting into oneness at the moment. Every exhale, everything relaxes a little bit more. Feeling stillness within the breath. Peace within the breath. Full rest in the breath. Slowly deepen your breath. Wiggle your toes and your fingers. Circles with your wrists and your ankles. Put your arms overhead. Nice AM stretch. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Then roll to your side. 2 breaths on your side. And when you're ready, sit yourself into a seated position. Oh, almost forget all the hard work we did in the beginning. So relaxed. Thank you so much for showing up for yourself today and investing your time and energy into your temple and choosing me to guide you through this movement practice. I bow to the truth as the truth will set you free. Amen.
Nancy fell asleep.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you. I almost didn't get us up either. But I was like, I don't really know what time it is. I guess I could have kept us there a little longer.
Oh no, you did that. You did great.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Well, good luck with everything, Sarah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. It's
I'm
just a
still gonna-
countdown now when baby starts kicking himself out.
I know, we'll see. I still tentatively am having next Wednesday our final day, but I will send a beautiful picture if that changes for everybody.
That sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Thanks
You
for
take
coming,
care.
Lori.
Thank
Take care.
you. Bye.
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 Oh, you're muted, Nancy. I can't hear you,
You're
Nancy.
muted.
I said you look so good, and I was sleeping, yes.
Ha 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 ha. Good.
But you really are look beautiful and just a glowing mother to be.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I feel not, I do feel a little glowy. I feel like I definitely got some blood flowing that hasn't been
Right,
flowing
right.
in a little while. So
Fabulous.
thank you guys for coming and inspiring the movement.
Yeah, well, I will do everything I can. Now what's next Wednesday?
Sarah, turn the recording off.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Thanks.
Katie still won't be here on Wednesday, but hopefully